Good evening and welcome to this evening's live chat. We're here to talk about our 8th grade options. I'm excited for our students to join us. I'm sitting here with Ms. Gay Johnson, Ms. Susan Schmidt, and Ms. Tanya Harris, principal of Waxahachie High School.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. We hope that we will be able to answer any questions that you may have about what it's going to look like when your 8th graders join us next year as freshmen. We will be taking questions in a live chat room, so please be sure and type in your questions and we will answer them as best we can.
Not seeing any questions come through. So do you want to talk about what the course selection process looks like over the next couple of days before we go and get started at the junior highs?
Sure. So I hope everyone has had a chance to see the presentation that was recorded by the high school counselors. We will begin tomorrow at Coleman. We will be with the students there filling out the forms that we sent home. Hopefully your student has brought those forms home with you. And then Finley will be on Wednesday and Howard on Thursday. We will go through the schedule selection with your students, and then parents, y'all will have an opportunity to view those through a new program we have called EduThinks. They will select their endorsement also at that time. I will let Ms. Johnson speak to the endorsements a little bit more here in a few minutes.
All right, so our first question that came through, can you speak to the workload associated with the STEM endorsement compared to some of the other options? So I think this one, there's a couple of options, a couple of ways to earn the STEM endorsements. Do you want to talk about those ways?
So the STEM endorsement has a few different options. You can do the option of the engineering route, which is the career tech options. You also have the math credits where they earn 5 math credits, or the science where you have 5 science credits. You can also do a mix and match between the career tech and the math and science credits as well.
Yeah, so
all STEM endorsements require students to take Algebra 2, Physics, and Chemistry, whereas that's not required of the other endorsements.
yeah, so the CTE pathways, so like Ms. Schmidt said, cybersecurity and engineering would be 2 pathways that you could take within the CTE program of courses there if you were going to go that route. All right, next question. How do we submit course selection for online learners?
We have sent with the email the course selections and the honors agreement. An honors agreement is needed only if your child wants to take pre-AP or AP classes. If you have the capability to print those and send those back in, that would be great. If you don't, a counselor will be contacting you from the high school in order to get those selections from you. Your child, even if it takes maybe a week or so for us to contact you, your child will be able to select the classes that they choose.
So I'm going to go back to the STEM endorsement question. It's clarified here, specifically the cybersecurity pathway. So that pathway would start off with the fundamentals of computer science 1. Junior year, you'd go into an AP computer science course or into a networking course, and then finish up senior year with a practicum in STEM. So you finish out that pathway with 4 or 5 options depending on which way you go. Kind of leads into the next question there. If a student was told that athletics is double blocked, does that mean that it would take up 2 periods, meaning they would need 1 less elective? So,
Yes, that is correct. Band and athletics are double blocked, so we do mean that takes 2 periods. Students select 8 periods for their classes, so that would be 2 of the 8, so then they would just have 6 left to choose from. And so they may not have room for a fine art as a freshman, so we would catch them up later as years allow.
So to further address that question, I just dropped a link into the chat there that says it's the CTE Student Planning Guide. So as you go through that guide, you can actually look at some of these pathways and look at a sample four-year plan to see visually what that looks like, to see the number of spaces you've got left once you take your required electives with foreign language, physical education, fine arts courses, and then what are the pathways you choose for the CTE courses. So you can go through and fill in the blanks there and really see how these classes map out over the course of 4 years. Next question, my son is taking Algebra 1 now in the 8th grade. Does he need to take Algebra 1 again or geometry?
He would take geometry, he would take pre-AP or regular geometry.
So I think that's a good question too, because it opens up some options for students. If you've taken a high school math class in the 8th grade, you've got more options available to you once you get to high school, so you can get to the upper level math classes later on as a junior or senior.
Yes, yes. We actually have Art 1 at the 8th grade level as well that can count for high school credit. So if your student has taken that as well, they'll have other options for Art 2 at the high school. And then we have some programs in CTE that they may have taken as well for 8th grade.
Do you want to talk about some of those for us?
The CTE courses that are students may have earned credit for would be Principles of Agriculture, Principles of Arts and AV, and Business Information Management, or what we call BIM. And so those students that were enrolled in those courses will get to go to the next course in the sequence. They won't have to go back and take the freshman level course.
So if a student was in Art 1 in 8th grade, does that fulfill the fine arts credit requirement?
Yes, as long as it is for high school credit at 8th grade. Yes, ma'am. Sir, sorry.
Yeah, these are good questions. This, as an 8th grade parent, these are the things you're wondering. I've taken these classes in junior high. What does that look like when I move to high school? Does it open me up for more options later on? All right, if my son wants to play freshman football, what selection is that? So I don't have a copy of the course selection sheet with me.
It's boys football on the selection sheet. So it's boys football 8A and the study skills on B-Day. It's under the PE choices.
Why don't y'all talk a little bit about kind of the process that you've gone through, meeting the students, going through the career inventories, and kind of talk to what we've gone through that's got us to this point so that parents know what we've been doing when we've been meeting with their students.
So a couple weeks ago, we met with all 8th graders and did a career inventory, the interest profiler. And so students were able to see what their interests were, think about careers that might be related to those interests. We also spoke to them in that meeting about the different programs of study that students can participate in order to earn an endorsement. Then the counselors came out last week and went through an entire presentation that's posted and talked about the different expectations of high school, how credits are earned, how you move to the next grade level, and to meet the graduation requirements. You want to add to that?
And we discussed each endorsement and the option for each endorsement, and about selecting your schedule and just expectations and with each campus.
This is another athletics question. Does soccer take the place of a period?
Yes, soccer is also 2 periods. And if your student is a multiple sport student, we will select the sport that is in season first. So if your student plays football and basketball, football would be on their selection first. And then when basketball starts their tryout process, and football ends, then basketball would go to their schedule next.
Okay, this question says, do you have a profile of a typical student for each endorsement option? I'm going to say we don't. I mean, our endorsement options are open for any students. Really, it's geared towards what that student is interested in, what excites them, what they're passionate about, what they want to do. It doesn't have to be something they want to do for the rest of their life. It could be something they want to learn to do while they're in high school. It could be an option to get them to something later on. I've talked about a student that I had several years ago that went through a cosmetology program at the high school, earned her certificate, earned a license to practice cosmetology, and then actually paid her way through law school doing hair and nails, went off and practiced law for 10 years in New York, and then realized it's not really what she wanted to do, and she still had her license and came back to Texas and opened up a cosmetology school. So it doesn't have to be something you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's a pathway to get you to what you want to do, or something that will think it might help you in a future career. I had another student years ago that knew he was going to be a brain surgeon but didn't take health science courses. He took computer science and he took theater because he wanted to work on his public speaking. He wanted to work on how to approach patients. He wanted to work on how to solve complex problems, and so computer science and theater really bridged that gap for him, and he actually went on and got a scholarship and went to medical school, and that's what he's doing now. So let's see.
I think it's important to know that many students will earn multiple endorsements. For example, if you are in band all 4 years, you automatically will earn an arts and humanities endorsement. Many students that may start off in one of the Stillman endorsements options, like the math endorsement, they may be pursuing another endorsement, but if they're on the advanced math track, they will automatically earn that option. And so also, when going back to endorsements and pathways, I think it's important for students to not just find out what they want to do for their future, but also find out what they don't want to do. It will save parents time and money, or the student time and the parents' money, if they can explore those things in high school. My son, for example, found out, or was really good at something, took a coherent sequence of courses and found out that he really liked it, really had interest in it, but it wasn't something he wanted to do for his career. And so there's a benefit to that also.
So this question says, please explain the difference between the dual program and AP classes. I'm thinking it maybe you mean dual credit program. So dual credit and AP, is there a difference between those?
So our dual credit starts their junior year. So right now for freshmen, we have the pre-AP and the AP classes. I can go ahead and share with you, with AP, you have an exam at the end of the year. So if a student chooses to take the exam, they score a certain score that a college will accept for college credit that would excuse them from a certain class. And then for dual credit, you enroll as a college student with that class and you pay for the tuition. Your student takes the class, passes the class, and they have college credit. But again, our dual credit starts their junior year.
So for students that were absent on the day when y'all went and did the interest inventories, can you briefly explain how a student can log online if they go from home and they want to go through and do that again?
Yes, if your student will go to the ClassLink dashboard and click on the EduThings link, it will take them and they will automatically log on. Then underneath their name, there's a gray bar that says careers. They'll click on the careers and then press start and just answer the questions. And then they'll be able to explore from there. I don't mind giving out my email. It's gjohnson@wisd.org. If your student has difficulty logging on, please just email me and I'll help them get logged on.
We need to move around more. We made the lights go on here, guys. I'm actually going to post in the chat here. I hope these comments are showing up. The link to go to ClassLink. So you can log into EduThings from that link and get to EduThings and go through and do that interest inventory.
And if you need to get a hold of anyone here at WHS, please go to the webpage. Ms. Johnson, Mr. Vinegar, Ms. Schmidt, and myself, all of our email addresses are posted on the webpage. and we get back with you immediately. Within 24 hours, all emails are always returned, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have after this live chat tonight if you think of additional questions.
All right, this question, if a student took Spanish 1 in 7th grade at a previous school, will that transfer towards credits for foreign language, meaning they would only need to take one more?
If the previous school counted it for high school credit, yes, we could do that as long as, you have presented that to us on a transcript.
Is Charmers double blocked?
Charmers is double blocked, but Maidens, which is the 9th grade drill team, is not.
Okay, so study skills, will that be a period for homework and studying on campus?
Study skills is a part of athletics. It's the second day of athletics, and yes, so they do spend study time on that day.
Is cheer double blocked?
Cheer is not double blocked.
All right, so if a student selects an endorsement route and then later signs that they would rather pursue something different, is it possible to change or switch later? It absolutely is, and that's kind of one of the things that we've talked about for years. We want students to go into a program and find what they're excited about, and if you get into it and you realize that health science is not for you because you can't handle the sight of blood, we definitely want you to find something that's more appropriate. But do you want to explain kind of what that looks like for a student?
Right. You'll find that some of our endorsements work together, so there are some common and shared courses. But in order to switch, it just depends on where they are, whether they're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. They don't switch in the middle of a semester, and usually they'll wait till the following year in their course selections. But just depending on where they are and what other courses that can count towards that endorsement would determine whether or not they could still earn a different endorsement. We do, though, encourage, although we do want kids to find what fits them, we also want to encourage students to complete a pathway, a program of study. Because when you complete a program of study, it allows opportunities to earn industry certifications. For example, in our health science pathway, they can earn pharmacy tech certification, certified medical assistant, possibly even EMT. Also, another example in cosmetology, they can earn their cosmetology license. We could go on and on of all the different programs that lead to industry certification. And so when you complete that program of study, all of the courses that are in that pathway, it increases your chance of being able to do that. And that also is one of the ways to earn an indicator to be considered college and career ready.
Can you explain the multidisciplinary endorsement?
Multidisciplinary has the option of doing advanced coursework. You earn 4 credits in advanced coursework, plus the other option is a 4x4, so you have 4 courses of the 4 core, 4 credits of the 4 core, so English, Math, Science, and Social Studies. Multidisciplinary cannot be chosen by a freshman student. It cannot be chosen until after the sophomore year.
All right. Please explain the difference between pre-AP and AP.
Pre-AP is the beginning. It's preparing them for AP. So just like I said, it's just preparing for AP, getting that student ready to take the higher level of the 2.
All right, so for online learners, who signs off for AP and honors classes? What does that process look like?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
For online learners, who signs off for AP and honors classes?
We can look at that. Their counselor can look at their progress so far in junior high and help decide for the recommendation for them to be in pre-AP or AP.
So the second part of this question, if a student has PE credit before school, does that mean they can choose an extra elective? I'm not sure if that means if they go to PE, like an off-campus PE, or a PE credit before they join us.
They like cross country? There's not a district-approved PE high school credit at junior high.
So PE is one required credit throughout the 4 years. So
Yes.
once you've got it out of the way, then you don't have to take it again.
Correct.
And there's a number of classes that kind of cross over where you can earn a PE credit and a fine arts credit, or a PE and something else,
Like
correct?
marching band, for example.
Yes, band in the fall. Band in the fall, you earn PE credit. Charmers in the fall, maidens in the fall, cheerleading in the fall, all give you a half a PE in the fall. So typically your student would do it for at least 2 years to earn their PE credit.
So I'll clarify this question. It was about swim. So if a student goes to swim before school, do they have an extra space in their schedule to take another course?
Yes.
Okay.
And swim would count as a PE credit.
I don't know if my comments that I've put in here are actually showing up. Okay.
If you can email those to me, then I can post them.
How many courses count for a coherent sequence? So if we're talking about a CTE pathway, I always get these numbers confused. 3 or more courses for 4 or more credits. So the way that breaks down is some of the classes could be a 2-credit class. So you wouldn't have to take 3 classes that are 2 credits. But if the first 2 classes are a single credit and a single credit, and that third course in the pathway is 2 credits, it's 3 courses that get you 4 or more credits. If you continued, you could end up with 5 credits in a pathway. It just depends on the breakdown of which program you decide to go into. So I think that's what that question is addressing there. Can freshmen register for AP courses?
We have one freshman AP course. It's AP Human Geography, and that's the Social Studies course. The other courses are pre-AP. There's pre-AP English and pre-AP Geometry if you've had Algebra 1. We do not have Algebra 1 as a pre-AP course, and then pre-AP Biology.
All right, so this question says, what's an example of an advanced credit from within an endorsement area? So if it's from one of the CTE endorsements here, so business and industry, public service, STEM, an advanced course could be an upper level course, either a junior or senior level courses. Most of the upper level classes are considered advanced. Yeah, so on the planning guide, the link that got posted there just a minute ago, if it's under course number 3, if you're going through and you look at some of the sample 4-year plans, it's usually the 3rd or 4th course in that pathway. Those are considered our advanced classes. If students taking Algebra 1 now, are they supposed to take pre-AP Geometry, or can they take regular geometry?
Their track would typically be the pre-AP Geometry, but they are allowed to do regular geometry.
And then I think we just did this, freshman for AP. So I know when y'all went to the junior high, you probably talked about the block schedule and what that looks like for kids. So you don't see all of your teachers every day. Do you want to talk about that briefly in case parents have questions about a block schedule?
Sure. So the block schedule is A day and B day. So right now we have Monday and Wednesday is A day, and Tuesday and Thursday is B day, and then Friday they go to all 8 classes. So on those A days, they go to a certain 4 classes, and then on B days, they go to the other 4 classes. Of course, if it's athletics or band, they will see those classes every single day. So That's typically how the days run, and they're about 90-minute classes. Then we have an academic tribe time that fits in during our third periods each day. A day is numbered 1 through 4, and B day is 5 through 8.
Okay, good question. Can you explain the difference in the 4-point and 6-point scale?
So the 4-point is for the regular classes, 6 points for the advanced. With the 6-point is with what we do with our GPA scale and rank. So typically you'll see the difference with 70 to 74 range and 80 to the 85 range. And I don't have the exact GPA it is in front of me, but a 70 to 74 can bring you 4 points, where it takes an A in a regular class to bring you 4 points for that grade. So an advanced class, because it is a college level, more rigorous class, a little bit more challenging, you're gonna have homework every night, expectations, are a little bit higher. It's on that higher GPA scale, and so it brings you more GPA points.
And only the core courses, the math, English, science, and social studies count towards GPA.
Some of that's broken down a little bit more too if you go to the course catalog. So if you navigate to the Waxahachie High School website, you can go in and look at the course catalog. And I'm trying to find the page number right here. Page 9 actually breaks down the numeric calculations for the 4-point scale and the 6-point scale. So if you go to and we'll get this link posted for you guys to make it easy. But I'll send that to you.
It's on the Waxahachie High School webpage. Go to student, and then it's under the student tab, and you'll go to student resources, and you'll see the course catalog.
So this question, how necessary is it to stick with an endorsement, especially if a student can't decide? So we kind of touched on that earlier. I mean, we definitely encourage our students to try and figure out what your interest is now. Identify that before you go into it. Explore, and so look at the student planning guide and get an idea of what these classes look like. Your student actually got to see a video too that kind of broke down what the CTE courses look like, what they can do in those classes. And we encourage students to participate and stay within that endorsement area all 4 years for the reasons Ms. Johnson mentioned. So there's industry-based certifications, dual credit opportunities in a number of our courses. Our courses lead to programs for post-secondary programs. We've got a lot of things our students can do where they get into a practicum level, they can go off-site and they can work. In our construction program, students get to go off-site and work in that. Cosmetology, we have a restaurant. Within CT, there's a number of areas where we really encourage kids to find something that they're passionate about and stick with that pathway. But again, if a student gets into something and you decide, at the end of the semester, it's not right for you and you want to pursue a different pathway, we can definitely visit with the counselors and look at what that looks like to change your endorsement area. But it'd be a conversation with the student and the counselor to really figure out what that looks like and then make sure that we've got space in that program so a student can switch.
And if they're having difficulty, they're going into the 9th grade, deciding which endorsement they would like to pursue, there is some flexibility to get into, the program their sophomore year. For example, if a student couldn't decide between cosmetology and health science, cosmetology is one that you just need to get into by your sophomore year in order to do the courses that are required for the licensure. So the counselors and myself will all be available to answer those type of questions with students upon registration.
And going back again, if you look at the student planning guide, if you want to go into business and industry and you want to take a lot of business classes because that's what interests you, You can do that if you're interested in engineering. That's 2 endorsement pathways. If you look at the 4-year plan, there's enough space within those pathways that you can actually go into both. It just takes, some flexibility in your schedule, looking at what you want to go into. If you're trying to do 2 endorsement areas and you want to do football and football and band, it's not going to work. But look at the 4-year plan guide here, and you can kind of break down and see where the pieces all fit together to make that work for you.
And as students meet their PE credit and their language credit, sorry, every time I talk, spaces open up the following year. And so it's amazing how much room some students have their sophomore year.
Okay, so going back to the question a minute ago about core classes, only core classes counting towards class rank. So your electives, your CTE courses, those do not count towards rank in class.
Correct. So core classes would be your English, math, science, and social studies, and those are the only ones that get counted into GPA and rank.
And just for clarification, there are a few CTE courses that you can also earn science math credit. Those are counted in GPA. For example, anatomy and physiology, medical microbiology, forensic science, AP computer science, financial math. All of those would earn GPA because they help meet the requirement for a math credit or a science credit. And they can count towards an endorsement.
See any more questions? So course selections start tomorrow, going the rest of this week. Once all those are input into the system, if a student has a question later on, or they pick something and they realize, I really wanted to pick this class also, what does the student need to do? How do we address that later on once they figure out what their courses are?
Talk to them first a little bit about what tomorrow's going to look like so that parents know, students know, and then what to do after that is done, and if they have questions or need to change something.
Okay. So like I said, tomorrow we go to Coleman to sit down with students and their forms and input their selections. And then Wednesday we will be at Findlay and Thursday at Howard. So your student will sit with their counselor one-on-one going through their schedule selection. And then after this process, we will open the window back up for students and parents to look at the schedule selections that the student has made and to see the endorsement chosen, to give you an opportunity to make the changes that might have been decided by, in a few weeks. We know sometimes they just write some things down and some changes have been made, or maybe some things, they decided they really don't want welding now, they want to try out for band and things like that. So we usually open the window either right before spring break or right after spring break for them to make those type of changes. We have the new system of EduThings, so now everything will be electronic for you guys to look at and submit changes to us.
And that'll actually be a new process for you guys this year as far as entering course selections. For students and parents, you will have the information sent out to you. We'll share that in the next couple of weeks about actually going online, and you can view what your student selected. You can actually go in and sign online. We'll send the instructions to you to make that easy so there's no paper going back and forth. It's not going to get stuck in the bottom of a backpack. As a former 8th grade teacher, I would find tons of those every year. I'm also going to throw in, as a former 8th grade teacher, advise your student not to sign up for the class that their friends are going to take, because they might not be friends in the fall when 9th grade rolls around. So pick something that you want to be in. Don't pick what your best friend is in, because friends change and the classes are going to be the same. So definitely sign up for what you're excited about now. We don't want you to wait and get to the end and the class be full when it comes to the fall. So we've got a record number of freshmen coming to the high school next year. So it'll be it's really important to make sure that you choose your courses correctly, choose them wisely. We did have a question come in here. Does a student need to take the same language for 2 language credits, or can they take one language 1 year and a different foreign language another year?
It is the same language that they are required to take, 2 years of the same language.
That's a good question.
Talk about the importance of the honors agreement.
Oh, yeah, I meant to bring that up. So the honors agreement is the purple form we sent home, and that is a very crucial piece of paper for your child to be in pre-AP or the AP class. We just require that you sign off and your child to know the commitment level. Those classes do demand a little bit more of their time and effort, and we require them to stay in for the first 6 weeks of the new school year to make sure they are prepared for those classes and get acclimated to the new style of the class and being at high school and everything. So we do require that form back before we select that for your child. So if you can have those filled out for when they come and visit with us at their school this week, we can have the pre-AP or AP class on their schedule from the start, and that makes it really easy. If not, those forms can be turned in until April 1st.
Anything else you want to throw out to 8th grade parents right now? We're excited to have your kids come here. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
There's no more questions right now.
No.
And we're really excited to have and welcome all of our 8th graders. It's exciting to see the growth in Waxahachie, and this will be our biggest 8th grade class coming up next year, and we're super excited as we prepare for their arrival and all things to get ready for them. And I know that there's a little reservation with parents, and I know it can be a scary time for both students and parents. But no, we are always here to help you work through any of the details or concerns that you may have. We have 7 amazing counselors on staff, 6 assistant principals, and myself, and we are always here to serve you and answer any questions or concerns you may have. We are even here during the summer months, so if something comes up during the summer, we are always here to help. I know a lot of you have already emailed asking for tours of the campus. And I know usually this time of year we have a big tour and we bring you in and we get to welcome you and you get to meet everyone. And COVID has kind of shut that down, and I hate that. But hopefully by late summer we'll be able to welcome our kiddos back. And if anybody needs a tour, we will be happy to accommodate those needs if we can. Any more questions?
No.
I just want to encourage everybody as you're thinking about signing up for classes, and just to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Vinegar said, don't choose the classes that your friends are choosing. Choose the classes that you're passionate about. We have some amazing opportunities at WHS. Our culinary arts program, eventually those kids get to run a restaurant. They get to understand how to run a restaurant. Our cosmetology program has turned out some amazing cosmetology students, and they work here in our local communities and all across the Metroplex. Our EMT, a lot of our EMT folks, they go on to do paramedic and fire and are working in our communities. We have some amazing programs. Our welders, we had a welding program. Some students got their certification and went on to weld on pipelines and things of that nature. So our programs are amazing They're valuable. So again, do something that you're passionate about, something that you think that long-term would benefit you and your family. And if you have questions about those programs, don't hesitate to drop us an email, and we'll do everything we can to answer your questions.
So I think we touched on this maybe at the beginning. If someone is an online learner and they've got their classes picked out, is there someone they can email or visit with to get their course selections done?
If you have a way to send it through email, you can send it to your junior high counselor now, and they will make sure we get your form. If you don't, one of the high school counselors will be contacting your child to make sure that we have the schedule selection.
If you're able to watch the video, you'll be able to see a lot of the CTE programs in that video. Everything in that video is taken on the Waxahachie High School grounds. And the only thing is maybe the agribusiness, and that shows them at competition. But we have an audio video studio. All of our shops, our automotive shop, welding shops, we have a health science lab. But you can, because you can't come and tour right now, it's the next best thing that you can see the different programs.
This year made it difficult. We didn't get to bring the kids over during the school day like has happened in the past. Didn't get to bring the parents in tonight like we did last year. Really, we're hoping to have the doors open and get you to come in and see the campus, tour the facilities, walk around the high school, look at it, get a feel for what it looks like so you know where you're sending your child off to. It's just, this year we didn't get to do that, so.
I don't know how much you can see of this room, but this is our courtroom that our law enforcement students hold court in.
All right, so this question, does law and public safety not count for a credit? We noticed on the form it did not list count as a credit and wanted to check. I'm guessing that's on the course selection sheet, but everything on there will count for a credit. That might have just been something that was left off of there.
Yeah, just a mistake, typo.
It's a good question about athletics. If football, since football is a tryout course, if they don't make it, will they need to have a schedule change?
Yes, we typically ask that there's alternate courses listed, so we have students pick out other courses in case something happens and we can't place them in the choices they've made first.
So I'm going to throw out a question on that. So if my child wants to do baseball and they don't sign up for baseball in the fall, or do they sign up for baseball in the fall and there's an off-season class, what does that look like for a student that picks a spring sport since it's not happening in the fall?
So we can let them select it, and if they don't make the team, we just have some backup choices for them.
Okay.
But what do they do in the fall if or do they go to baseball?
They go to baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No? I've had some good ones tonight. I remember doing this years ago. We don't have lockers, so I don't know if the junior high still have lockers, if they use them or not.
No, we don't have lockers.
Bring your
We're taking
backpack.
it. Bring your backpack.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, new this year,
yeah,
you got laptops.
Laptops. Every student will be, upon arrival at WHS, our freshmen will be issued a laptop. They are welcome to bring their own laptop if they have one from home they would prefer to use. If they do not, we will issue them a laptop within the first couple of weeks of school. This laptop they will carry from class to class, take it home, and it will be theirs to use while they're here at WHS. Parents will be asked to sign an agreement that says that you're partnering with us on this technology, and that you're going to help support us and ensuring that it does not get damaged and it's used for school purposes. It's really been a great opportunity as the state's moving to put all of our textbooks online. All of our teachers have Google Classroom and web pages where students can access their curriculum and their lessons. it's really great for them to be able to have this resource at their disposal, and we're really excited about offering that.
So the links got posted a few minutes ago to the planning guide, so I'll show what that looks like. If you go to the planning guide, if you want to go through and you can print out an individual page if you want to kind of figure out what the four-year plan course selection process looks like. So if you wanted to print it out, you could write in on that piece of paper and kind of map out what your four-year plan looks like. So the core courses are listed at the top, CTE electives are all listed on there. The required electives are listed on there. Additional classes that might relate to that program area if you want to look at those. There's really a lot of information in this planning guide that kind of helps to navigate which pathway or which option you want to go into. So like I said, you can print those out individually. You don't have to print the whole book out. So if you wanted to draw on that and get a visual, and you could actually, I guess you could send that in if they wanted to with the course selection sheet, so you could talk with the counselors about that tomorrow.
Okay, we've been asked to introduce ourselves, just so you know. I am Tanya Harris. I am principal of Waxahachie High School.
I'm Susan Schmidt. I'm lead counselor at Waxahachie High School.
I'm Dustin Binnicker, the Director of Career and Technical Education.
I'm Gay Johnson. I'm a CT coordinator.
You can find all of our emails, all of our contact info, like Ms. Harris said at the beginning. Everything's listed on the district webpage or on the campus webpage if you need to get in touch with us or have any questions. And we'll be going to the junior highs the next couple of days. So we'll be there. I know we'll respond within 24 hours, but tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be fast and furious as your counselors are sitting with students. So
Yes. We're really excited to get this time to sit with students and meet them and work with their schedules, and we can answer any questions they have. So tonight, if we haven't answered, which I know we haven't, all your questions, just send them with your students this week and we will take care of those questions. And the coming weeks, we're still going to be available for any questions that may come up. So just reach out to us, and again, we'll take care of answering your emails.
It's very easy to navigate the WHS webpage. If you go to the WHS webpage and you click on staff, our counselors and our assistant principals are broken down by alphabet. You will be easily able to identify your student's counselor and assistant principal. And if you click on their email, it will just a simple click. It links you right to their email. You can drop them a quick email and let them know what questions you may have, and they'll get back with you within 24 hours. My email is also on there, again, as well as Mr. Binnicker and Ms. Johnson's, and any of our assistant principals or directors. That will give you a direct link to them to ask any questions that you may have, including if you need to talk to any of our program directors, such as Mr. Armstrong, our band director, or Andy Reynolds with our theater arts director.
all right, we just had a question come in. Are freshmen allowed to leave campus for lunch? Are any of your students allowed to
No.
leave campus
We
for
do
lunch?
not have open campus for lunch for any students. All students are to remain on campus. The only students that are allowed to leave campus are those that are in one of our community service programs or our job training programs, where they leave campus early for those programs. Other than that, all students are on campus and all students remain on campus during lunch.
We got a great cafeteria. It's a nice space, nice courtyard.
Beautiful. The kids love to eat in the courtyard. We had 10 additional picnic tables donated by the Avenue Church this year, so there's a really nice space outside for students to eat. And again, we have a beautiful cafeteria, and I haven't heard any complaints about the food either. So we have a lot of options, and students seem to enjoy it.
And we live in Texas. The weather's nice almost
It's
year
beautiful.
round. You can eat outside.
Even when ironically enough, even when the weather's not so nice, the kiddos still love to go outside on the patio. They enjoy being outside with their friends and hanging out on the patio for lunch. If you have any questions about policies or dress code at WHS, you can always, again, go to our webpage and download the student handbook, and it can answer a lot of your questions as it relates to dress code and campus policies and procedures. It will also, on that page, will also give you a sample bell schedule, which will help you navigate the AB schedule that students may not be as accustomed to. Okay, it looks like our time is up. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And again, I apologize. This is a very unconventional way of doing things, but we wanted to be sure and give you the opportunity to ask questions. This is not the last opportunity. This is the one opportunity of many more to come. And again, we look forward to serving you and your students in the many months to come. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to go to our website, drop us an email, or give us a phone call, because we're here to help you and your student have a successful 4-year career here at WHS. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a blessed evening.
Good night.
Roll
Thank you.
Tribe!